Hey everyone.
Welcome to our show,
Conversations with
Brown Girls. So guys, you know when you have that person who comes up to you and they're trying to describe someone who they assume you know because you're both people of color?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you know, like, and it's always so funny because they're always like, oh yeah, I bet she has like short hair, or you know,
Or very
she's
curly
tall.
hair.
No, or like remember like the middle school stuff, high school.
No,
like,
she's really good at basketball.
her hips don't lie.
Dance.
Mm-hmm.
She has, and then even here they're like, they never say the obvious. They never say something that we so strongly identify with within our culture.
It's
like,
so funny.
You were saying the other day that you would be offended if they don't mention your race.
Well, yeah, because like, I mean, that's kind of like, by you not admitting that I'm a black person, you're kind of just erasing like my culture.
Right, rather than saying, like, you know how sometimes they're like, oh, I think she's an ethos.
Or Mezcla.
Or, yeah.
Here they tell
that your friends are in it. They say, I think she hangs out with those girls in Mezcla. You know, she might go to
And
that.
then sometimes they're like, why can't I get into Harambe House?
Oh yeah, like, or sometimes they don't even know. Like they're like, yeah, that place behind the library.
Yeah,
I just know I
that's
can't
true.
swipe there. Like I see people go in. Like my friends go in there, and they go during the daytime and during the nighttime, but I can't go in there.
And I don't understand why I don't have access. Like, I should have access to everything on campus.
I pay full tuition.
Yeah.
Oh, not the full tuition people.
Yeah. No.
But you know, the interesting thing is like the thing we should really be talking about, instead of all this like, oh yeah, why can't I go into people's spaces? It's like, why don't certain groups have spaces at all? You know, it's like
Agreed.
ridiculous.
Okay, guys, what's up?
Okay, so
I heard you were talking about space.
yeah, you know.
How much
definitely a
space we
problem.
don't have here.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
can we say how it was so difficult for us to find a space to have this conversation too?
Actually.
Oh my God.
Like, if we had a Latina house, I could have been like, hey, do y'all want to meet up at Latina house?
Oh,
Didn't there
you
used to be a Latina house?
Oh, there was actually a Latina house.
Oh, no.
In fact, I believe it was it was a shared space. It wasn't just Latina house, but it
Okay.
was called La Casa, and it was shared by students of Mezcla and like other students of Latina descent with Hillel, Newman Catholic, and I think those were the only three groups that shared it. But it was called La Casa, and it was where Gray Lot is now, so that parking lot behind the Science Center.
Wow.
That's where it was,
Oh,
and
that's
then it was
great.
eventually called Gray House, right?
Yeah.
So it was officially called Gray House, known as La Casa, and I think it was either in 79 or 80, the summer, it burned down,
Wow.
mysteriously.
Oh no.
So, yeah, so students came back after the summer and they were like, our house is gone. And they were like, it burnt down, y'all. However, the story that they don't often tell, because we've definitely inquired about this, asking why we don't have a space, right? The story they don't often tell is that it was actually rebuilt after they burnt it down. And they referred to it as Gray House, but they never gave it back to the Latina students.
Wow.
So it existed, still the same space, Gray House on Gray, what is now Gray Lot. But they used it for a while to have housing for employees that have to stay on campus during events like blizzards and stuff, and they couldn't go home. But then they stopped using it for that too, and then it just kind of fell into disrepair. But there are alums who remember seeing Gray House, like recent alums, like 09, 08,
Wow.
and Gray House is still there.
So
Is it
crazy.
still there? It's not there anymore.
And so now that's just.
Oh, so great.
So
Just
it's kind
replace
of
it in the
that-
parking lot.
Yeah.
No, that's better.
You know,
they
that's much
got
better.
rid of a
Yeah,
space.
because so they actively got rid of a space. Just
Oh,
like there was an Asian American house.
Right, I
too.
do remember that. Yep. Mhm.
That
And then it got taken away, right? Because obviously we want to integrate. I mean, like the thing is, it's funny because like I actually had a student ask me that. They were like, you know, I don't understand why you want space in the first place, because isn't it like, don't you want to be like, is the whole point like, you know, you had segregated housing, though, don't you want to be like living with everyone? Like if you want to live with like people of your own race, why don't you just block with each other? And I was just like,
That is
you
wrong.
don't.
Yeah,
so
that's
you're
wrong.
wrong.
I mean, I understand where that's coming from, because I think it comes from this perspective that, you know, just physical presence is enough to make everything better, right?
Yeah.
So that's what the admissions office and the institution in general feeds us.
Mhm.
They tell us, oh, just recruiting more students of color will make this school better. And that's true to an extent. Like, it's always great to have more people
Yeah,
like
it's
you,
great.
right? It's great, but just bringing up admissions numbers is just giving Wellesley more faces for their
It
brochure.
does.
Yeah.
And it also makes people feel they're like, it's a diverse community and stuff
But then
like that.
you get here and you're sorely disappointed, right? So like if
Definitely.
you have all of these, if you know, it's more than just wanting to hang out with other students of color,
Yeah.
other members of your race. It's
About
about
safe
having safe
spaces,
spaces.
yeah.
Exactly.